No, because I promise you, I'm the wrong one to ever play that I'm not going to text first game. I will literally never speak to you again in my entire life. Never.
Welcome to The Wall. In today's video, we'll be talking about divorce, how the Republicans with Bill 732 want to change the rules of the game for women. We'll also look at how one woman claims women fare better in divorce, something that apparently no one noticed until now. We'll dive into the heartbreaking story of a man who reveals the true cost of divorce. Your support is super important to us. Give us a like and subscribe to the channel. We're aiming for 150,000 subscribers before the end of the year. Share your experiences and advice in the comments. That's what helps this community grow. Turn on notifications so you don't miss any videos. Now, let's get started.
As someone who shares about their divorce online, I have thousands and thousands of comments and DMs from men and women who are either getting divorced or are post-divorce. And something that I think is really interesting as a pattern about the difference between men and women post-divorce is that while divorce sucks for everybody, generally, women come out of divorce and their lives are on an upswing. They're more fulfilled, they're happier, they're calmer, their homes are peaceful, they're doing things that are for them versus for someone else. And men, alternatively, go through divorce and have a much harder time. A much harder time finding fulfillment, finding satisfaction. Now, of course, these are like broad generalizations. I know there are many men who go through divorce and are happier post-divorce. But as far as their lives being easier, the trend, again, based on thousands and thousands of comments, DMs, and conversations, is that post-divorce life for women is a whole lot better than post-divorce life for men. And then you start to think, why is that? And while I know why that is for myself, I think the realization is that post-divorce, men realize how much work women were doing for them, how much thought went into making their lives easier. And once women are free from marriage and free from past their divorce, all that energy that they spend putting into supporting their man goes towards supporting themselves and making themselves fulfilled and doing things that make their own lives easier and happier and safer. So while, of course, there are wonderful men out there and there are men who come out of divorce and they are living that more fulfilled life, it's really, really hard for me to ignore that pattern.
Hey, bro. What? Oh my God!
If I were to take every man who is alone and finance 50% of his life so he could seek his happiness, I bet the vast majority, if not all, would be happy. The divorce rate in this country is around 80% initiated by women and 50% of marriages end in divorce. Divorces almost always happen on average after 7 to 8 years, which is the same average time it takes to pay off most mortgages in this country. Do you think that's a coincidence? Of course not. Many women can rebuild their lives because most leave a marriage without debts. The man, on the other hand, is left with half of his assets gone, having to pay child support, often needing to rent a new place, and in the worst cases, also paying alimony. How on earth are you supposed to get ahead like that? Think about how easy it is to lose 50% of everything, including your 401k and investments, and then have to live on 70% of what you earn. How easy do you think life is after that? Watch the next video, where a man clearly breaks this down. How much divorce cost him and how he sees life afterward.
Oh, how much did my divorce cost me? Well, this is a fantastic question. There's direct and there's indirect costs. Direct costs, I lost $106,000 out of my 401k retirement plan I spent 20 years contributing to. I also lost half the equity in the home, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, cash, and savings that I also spent 20 years contributing to. I also lost half of all the non-liquid assets like furniture, household goods, electronics, cars. Keep in mind, I paid for all of these. And this is in addition to financially supporting her and her/our daughter for 17 years, which is many hundreds of thousands of dollars. I'm now broke, live in a 2-bedroom apartment, and have a negative net worth for the first time since I was, 25. Indirect costs: my job, my sobriety, my self-worth, my masculinity, my hope for the future, my ability to trust women again, my belief in God, my pride, my motivation, my physical health. I don't know, let's just say everything.
Now, how do you think life will go after that? Marriage is a contract where only the woman benefits. A contract where every man who signs it knows he is gambling his entire future. It's a contract where one party is always favored, can walk away whenever they want, and still come out rewarded. Many men dream of building a home, and it's devastating when you give 20 years of your life and everything is taken from you. That's why I've always said, a man who gets back on his feet after a divorce deserves my respect. Most men don't have a support system. Many don't even have friends. For men, family doesn't come to the rescue. Many, when they're kicked out of their home, end up in run-down motels because there isn't a single person there for them. On top of that, they can't even take solace in spending time with their kids because they're taken away too. Why do you think so many turn to alcohol or other vices to numb their pain? Being a man is tough because we will never receive unconditional love that is reserved for women, children, and animals. If a man doesn't bring value, no one cares about him. That's why you should always focus on yourself. A man who becomes high value can choose his future, making decisions from a position of strength, not scarcity. Whether to marry or not. And if you do marry, never do it without a prenuptial agreement. Thankfully, the laws are starting to change. Check out the new proposed legislation in the next video.
Well, it certainly didn't take long for bills impacting marriage, divorce, and annulment to start rolling in for the 2025 legislative session. So we have Texas coming in, which we know is, one of the most conservative states. One of their conservative lawmakers filed 2 bills regarding marriage, divorce, and annulment for the 2025 legislative session. This is from Lone Star Live. From that website, and it was published November 14th. So the latest, and I'm going to read it because I don't know all this stuff, but 2 pieces of legislation submitted. One is House Bill 732, which would repeal a section of the Texas Family Code that allows marriages to be annulled on the grounds of impotency. So currently it allows for an annulment specifically if either party was permanently impotent at the time of marriage, the other did not know their spouse was impotent, and they had not voluntarily cohabited since finding out. So if passed, House Bill 732 would apply only to marriage annulment requests filed on or before September 1st of 2025. So that is in process. The other bill in Texas is House Bill 931, which would make Texas one of 4 states that allow covenant marriage, and they have covenant marriage in quotes. That type of arrangement is tied to conservative Christianity and emphasizes marriage being for life, although divorce is still legally available. So some notable political figures that have entered into covenant marriages, we'll see if any of these names sound familiar to you. U.S. House Speaker Mike Johnson, and former Arkansas Governor Mike Huckabee. Advocates say it promotes traditional family values, which again is a phrase that was all over the original full text of the Project 2025 document, all 922 pages. And it encourages couples to solve marital problems.
If you're not willing to solve marital problems, then why did you marry that person in the first place? If your plan wasn't to spend your life with them, why get married to them at all? If that wasn't your objective, then what was it? Here's the thing. I've always believed that both men and women should be free to leave a relationship whenever they want. I don't see the logic in keeping someone by your side who doesn't want to be with you. However, I don't believe in rewarding someone for breaking a commitment. If you don't want to be with me anymore, that's fine. But with a divorce, you should give up 80% of everything, and the children should stay with the more capable and financially stable parent. It's that simple. If you want to leave, then leave. But don't touch what has been built over the years, the other spouse's stability, just to take a piece of it for yourself and start a new life with someone else, funded by your ex-husband. Of course, it's easy to find happiness that way. Let's continue.
So some critics say it makes it harder for people to flee abusive situations and represents a government endorsement of a specific form of religious, I trip over that word, specific forms of religious marriage. So under the proposed Texas state law, couples are legally required to complete at least 5 hours of premarital counseling from a clergy member or licensed marriage counselor before entering into a covenant marriage. So again, another tie back to the Project 2025 language was that there would be a lot of faith-based marital counseling and faith-based marital supports that would be focused on. So to divorce, both parties must agree to the split, as well as attend at least 5 hours of counseling from a clergy member or licensed counselor. So here's a caveat. Entering into a covenant marriage would be voluntary. And they could not be charged a fee for issuing a covenant marriage license under H. Bill 931. Non-covenant marriage participants still would be required to pay a fee unless the couple completed state-approved premarital education courses, which I would say the unspoken part there is faith-based. Again, this is from an article that was posted on LoneStarLive.com on November 14th. So very, very current. And it's already showing like legislation like this, these House bills, these things that are not necessarily stating the removal or retraction of no-fault divorce, which is a term you hear a lot. They're coming in, named a little bit different nuances and what's required, what's restricted, what's mandatory. But, you know, as with any good contract or House bill, it's all in the fine print. So it'll be interesting to see what other states decide to start introducing legislation that impacts marriage and divorce and requirements around both of those things going into the 2025 legislative session. Follow, comment. You know, I'm going to keep looking at things and we'll see what happens next.
Most men aren't opposed to divorce. When a man leaves a woman, especially if she's unbearable or unstable, something we often see in many women today, he usually leaves with nothing. He's often financially devastated, yes, but at least he gets rid of the stress of that woman and the hellish life they shared, which is worth a lot. But it's not the same for women. She'll claim you're an abuser, that you've hurt her deeply, that you've caused her trauma. Yet, when she leaves, she wants you to go, while keeping everything that's yours. She wants most of the money, the house, the kids, alimony, part of your retirement, and the cars. But you're the abuser, you're the bad guy. Still, no matter how bad you supposedly are, your money is good enough for her. She knows her, I deserve to be happy, depends on how much money she can take from you to start her new life with another man. This is where men disagree. If she wants to leave, fine, she can leave, but she should go as she came. If she worked and contributed, she takes what she brought, plain and simple. But to her, that's an unfair deal. When she's leaving just because she got bored, or like in 43% of divorces initiated by women at 50, when the man is about to retire. Yet, somehow, we men are always the abusers.
I went to divorce court today. I was very nervous, but I did well because I didn't have to talk. I only sat there. My attorney spoke for me. My soon-to-be ex-husband didn't look so well. Doesn't look well at all compared to what he normally looks. This court date was not supposed to have happened. Technically, it shouldn't have had to have happened because we should have been able to figure everything out in mediation, which was scheduled for the end of October, of which we had to cancel because he has yet to provide any financial documents. Any. He just simply doesn't provide anything. The judge got after him and told him that he needs to step up and provide financial documents. He tried to claim, well, because I'm not having an attorney, then I just didn't know. You know, he's smart. You also are literally sleeping with an attorney, mister. Come on. We're not that dumb. Unbelievable. He can play dumb all he wants, but we see through him. Note to self, don't mess around with the judicial system. If you want out of your marriage, you can do it in so many better ways than what my soon-to-be ex-husband is doing.
Oh, hell no!
This man doesn't want to present his financial documents because he knows he'll go bankrupt in that court, and she knows it too. I want you to see how a woman thinks. When a man divorces and has kids, he almost always tries to make sure his kids are comfortable, even with the woman who takes everything from him. But the woman destroys the man's finances, often compromising part of the children's future in the process. A broke man can't help anyone, but that doesn't matter as long as her account stays full. That's why you hear kids later say, "We had everything, but my parents' divorce left us bankrupt." That's when you realize how short-sighted many women are when they destroy a man. This is the face of happiness of a woman who knows she's about to ruin a man in court. But I must admit, she's right about one thing. Never go before a judge without a lawyer. Only 10% of men in this country have managed to get a favorable divorce settlement. 90% of men fare poorly, and if you go without a lawyer, it's likely to be even worse. With a good lawyer, at least you'll come out in better shape. Never go to war unarmed, brothers. We've reached the end of the video, but before we go, here are some questions for you. How did it go for you when you divorced your partner? What do you think should change about divorce to make it fairer? If you enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. Your support means the world to us and motivates us to create more content. Stay tuned for the next exciting video from the wall.